Chapter 5 is social reform in the progressive era, looking at from about 1882, when the Chinese Exclusion Act was passed by Congress, moving forward to about 1924, when they also enacted an Immigration Act. Leading into that, basically, I wanted to say that a large portion of the issues and big things that were happening in this time period had a lot to do with immigrants. About 60% of the workforce was foreign-born, and we didn't really have any infrastructure ready for that. We had a lot of people living in poverty, being discriminated against, living with disabilities, also not, being discriminated against. They weren't allowed to also organize in unions. And there also wasn't a lot of reform going on until further on into this part, because there was a huge depression that hit that had lots of unemployment from 1893 to 1896. And so there was sort of this idea with corporations versus government versus people, and how those pieces can really fit together. Some of the things that the social reform tried to do in this era, and they did succeed with some of these, were pensions for retirees, welfare programs, and health insurance. They also tried to do things with civil rights, job finding services, outlawing union busting, so allowing people to gather and sort of talk about their employment issues. Basically, progressives, reformers started to question the U.S. as a model society, because basically they were saying, these people are depressed, they are living a disease. You guys are basically showing that you care about big business more than your people. And so some of the things that they sort of started to figure out was, most of the immigrant workers didn't speak English. They didn't have citizenship. And to help these people, we were going to have certain reforms that included, giving voters power, regulating bank and economic institutions, regulating food and drugs, regulating employment of children, because, labor laws came into big play with being safe in the workforce, as well as not being able to hire as many children and things like that. So this era was really huge with, working conditions,